What's good YouTube, and welcome to the house. Before we get into penny stonks, it's been a while since I did a market watch around penny stonks. I want to get to two sealed products I missed on my sealed only market watch. A ton of you guys enjoyed me talking about sealed products and my thoughts on them. I'll definitely be going in depth a lot more on different sealed products, but the reason these two missed, the first being Ancient Guardians, and a lot of people asked about this one. I think you should be buying the singles by far. There's a reason you're seeing on even my sponsor site, you can use code WhatsGood5 for 5% off and to support the channel. Why I'm not suggesting these. This set needs so much help from the collector rares that it isn't funny. It needs something like Ash Blossom to be a success, and the OCG has a lot more say in collector rares on a set like this rather than upcoming King's Court, which is our Toon Chaos kind of esque set, which I would gamble on a lot more. I think is super underordered versus upcoming sets. And with Ancient Guardians, yes, it may be underordered because of the burn from Genesis Impact we got, but that set had Drytron, a meta-impacting deck that ended up with cards on the freaking ban list because of it, and has more support coming later, yet that box is still failing. Now, inside this deck building set, you have the Abyss, which has some weird new name. It is a reptile deck that looks extremely decent, but I think it's going to be stuck in the rogue category. Then you have the Do-Re-Mi, which is now Solfa, and I think that it's not really all that good, and the Barrack Tea also, while interesting, also falls on not that good. And if you're interested in those archetypes, I think because of that, you'll be much better off buying the singles. We're under that new ratio of we don't really see short prints, but everything is now shorter than it used to be because you're only seeing 3-ish of each card in the ultra slot pulled. You have a total of 3 per box, 12 boxes, 36. There's 10 different ultra rares. So that ratio breakdown, it's like 3.6 of each ultra rare. That's not the best when you're only seeing a playset and you're going in on a case versus the singles you could be getting, and then only seeing about 4 collector rares per case, and you needing one of those to be really chased after and sought for sealed to do well. I'd rather you just buy the singles. And why you see deals this late, $53.44 per box after code WhatsGood5 to support the channel. I just don't think it's worth it, even at this price point. Look at Genesis Impact, compare the decks inside here, and if your theory is that it's underordered, that's the only reason I would think about sitting on it, and even then, I can't personally suggest it. I don't think that it's a really good product to be going in on. The good old 8-0 slogan of SEMO, buy the singles. Now, the Egyptian God deck bundles, I think they definitely have a lot more potential to them. You have Slifer and Obelisk on the cover, and you see multiple structure/starter decks doing very well for themselves. Most recently, to name the Shadol structure deck, in less than a year, it's spiked so much in price. You have Lair with only the Infernoid having meta implication, doing well for itself. The Zombie structure deck, so many of them reaching that $30 plus point. But why I don't necessarily suggest this, I think it will do well for itself on Amazon. You have OCG import cards. Actually, from what I do have over here, you have them from the Prismatic God box in Japan, which was a way better way to sell those cards. I think that while I do respect kind of the Tribute 3 get a God card out, that'll be, I think, in the Obelisk structure, you already have King's Court describing their engine as better for this, and that you'll want to be over there buying that. And I also know a lot of vendors are going to be sitting on deep stacks of these. They're already claiming, yeah, this is my idea. I'm going to go in. I'm going to wait years. That means the quantity to sell later versus the competition later will be thicker than ever while sales rates are down. And I think that'll kind of hit into each other later on. But we'll wait and see. I do think it actually is not a bad investment. It's not just where I would be going versus upcoming solid core sets like Dawn of Majesty, rolling the dice on King's Court. There's different places I would personally be betting on sealed. Now let's get into penny stonks, starting with Scrap Raptor coming out in Lightning Overdrive. I think this card is so understated, and whenever you have something creep up like that and just hop even into the rogue category, let's call this rogue and not meta, wink, but even if it hops into rogue, you see those decks just spike in price like crazy. Oh, it's doing it, okay, it's time to go. So you want to beat that, and I think Scrap Weaver is so underestimated. It is a promo out of the special editions. That's a word I haven't had to say in a while, special edition, from Chaos Impact. And with this card, it's not the biggest population. Even though those special editions will produce a lot of promos, Chaos Impact was not ripped open a lot without its freaking starlights. So when you look at this card, it only being $2 seems heavily underinvested in my opinion, and it's actually up in price from when I last suggested it, but I still think it's a pretty good buy here as an insane enabler from the Link Brains pack era. Also, Scrap Golem only has 2 printings. Its super rare is still super cheap for what it is in my opinion, and you see it's barely above the rare in price. So I would be thinking about the OTS pack super rare. You see those super rares tend to go up in price a lot when they get some meta play, and I could easily see this doubling in price there. And then Super Scrap Recycler, if I recall, this is a short print out of Fist of the Gadgets, and until we finally got the maximum gold letter rare, you know, the ultra rare without foiling version of the card, we didn't see very cheap prices. This bumped back in price real hard until we got this. So this has ended up in multiple combos, multiple decks. It's an insane card. It gets tutored out into the combos. I would highly suggest the super rare version of this over any other. But if you are on a budget, I don't think the gold letter rare is necessarily bad to have either here. Now, usually penny stocks are $5 and below. I just wanted to note the rising prices on the Earth Machine engine and stuff like the Machinas are things you might want to look at also, but Urgent Schedule has just consistently gone up, as well as Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Juggernaut Lead out of Legendary Duelist Season 2, which has been doing extremely well for itself. I know that deck has a lot of rogue popularity. Winter's Kills, I think, constantly is playing or on this deck, and I see a lot of people come into my stream playing it as well. It performs pretty good, but then falls to a ton of hand traps, but past that, pushes through boards a lot. I do like the deck, and I'm wondering if it does get an upgrade from Scrap Raptor. Totally awesome, getting dumped by multiple different ways, and even more coming up out of the extra deck. I think that you also have a new Paleozoic card upcoming, and I would suggest getting the gold letter rare. It's done nothing but go up for the most part, but also the originals have slowly been disappearing again, and you can see the mega packs are plentiful if you want a mid-rarity but still secret rare version of this card. It's not bad, but right now, still under $5, I would be getting totally awesome. It just ends up having so many applications, from being dumped out of the extract, get a Necroz back, you know, that kind of stuff, but also its ability to just be this powerful negate that steals stuff from the opponent. It's such a good freaking card. Speaking of good freaking cards in Genesis Impact, we have Nightmare Unicorn and Phoenix on the list. My Discord actually suggested this one, and I don't disagree. While the quantities are super high on both of these cards, bottom rarity of rares, I could see over time them disappearing and eventually going up in price from how under-opened Genesis Impact was, as vendors tried to just move it off sealed, people invested in, and it sealed at those lower prices. I think that while there are high quantities of these because they were some of the only money cards, I would definitely think about getting them sooner than later, because they'll find their way back into metagame after metagame, despite power creep. Being Mystic Mine, for example, being able to put your cards down into one card and get rid of the mine feels pretty good, man. Artifact Sanctum secret rares went up somewhat recently, and I've noticed the Battles of Legend newest version ultra rare is starting to slowly go up in price. Trap Tricks have new cards coming, and they really like to typically play the Artifact engine, since they don't have a power output necessarily, and they're trying to stop opponents' plays. The Artifact engine comes into play quite often. This is the cheapest version. I also do maybe suggest First Ed Originals, although it looks like it's low on quantity, so I doubt they're around that. Oh, they are! First Ed Originals, serve them up at $3.50. Oh no, that's Mega Pack. I clicked the wrong one. See, I got myself excited for a deal for you guys, but the Mega Pack version is actually the lowest. I would probably, yeah, the First Ed Originals are around $6. That makes a bit more sense. I might get the Mega Pack version before I got the Battles of Legend Ultra with that price gap, though, and then consider the Battles of Legend Ultra if these are even lower in quantity. There's a reason that they're going out and are so low, and people are eyeing it a lot. People have been asking me Ghost from the Past penny stonks a lot, and I would never bet against Madolche's. I actually showed you all Angeli while she was still $1 some odd, and said, yeah, this is great. Now she's $5. Petting Cessor is super awesome for their combos. Finally got a holofoil version of her. I could see her going up over time. I'd get her while the competition is pretty hot. You also have Madolche Chateau. This card is awesome. awesome. I love seeing it finally get the holofoil it deserves. I don't know if it'll necessarily go up, but again, I don't bet against Madolches. These are the things I would probably keep a stack of 20 plus of at the low rate you get in on. And then Pudding Cess, all of her versions were up in price recently. It's nice to see a cheap version of her. I would just have access to this card in case you ever want to play Madolches. And I never bet against memes either. Ojama Lime, the only card he's on besides his skull on Solidarity. Ojama Country is already $1, and the rare was 10 plus before this reprint, and you finally have a holo upgrade with many sellers down here quickly going towards $1.50. I'd slowly be getting copies of these. With penny stonks, you don't go in fast. You don't just go, let me buy this out. That's not how penny stonks work. You just get yourself slowly some, get them as throw-ins on trades. You slowly acquire some to where you're happy with the amount you have that you're sitting on. Now, we do have the Win Duelist Pack coming up sooner than later, so Morg has slowly gone up over time, although this is cheaper than I've seen him in a bit. I would definitely suggest some Morg as a penny stonk. This card is so freaking good, ends up in so many different decks, and Out of Duel Overload is over a year old now. And you also have High Speedroid Rubber Band Shooter, a ton of Speedroid buyouts. This one seemingly neglected yet gets highly played within the deck. Out of Battles of Legend as a secret rare, I would definitely have access to this too in case the Speedroids turn out very good, although they're what we're waiting for. So this is like kind of that gamble moment of, do I think the Speedroids are good? Well, there's a ton of other buyouts. Why not go for this? I am shocked that this is left behind. And then Tempest Dragon Ruler, the secret rare is up from the last time I looked at it. This is a penny stock I suggested a while ago, but I would still suggest the super and maybe even the original rare for nostalgia's sake, but the super, you want a holofoil version, only has 40 copies left out of Mystic Fighters, and Mystic Fighters is very expensive sealed, so you're not just going to see a ton of this come back on the market with all the Wind hype, Dragoonity hype, so many things going forth. I see Tempest getting played a bit more in those decks and testing. I would consider having Tempest just to have access, and also there's Dragon Ruler format as gravy on that train. Thanks for watching today's Penny Stonk Market Watch. What did you guys think of all the ones that I suggested, as well as my thoughts on the sealed? I understand if you disagree. It's under order. The collector rares could end up great. We're still in this zone where we don't know how that will turn out, so there are different approaches. Market mana is not always right. This is just my opinion, and you should know when I'm incentivized to sell you something and I'm telling you I don't think it's good to buy, well, it's right there in front of you. You can try to prove me wrong, but I feel like 9 times out of 10, I'm usually right. And I still do think this one's a good one. I just think there's better estimated value for your money spent versus the competition that will be here later. But these could just get called off the market real fast for the amount of them. And I could be underestimating, you know, that X factor of how the God cards do, like the Speed Duel Battle City box. That one proved me wrong in my face with the little RNG. I did say get the secret rares out of there. They're super stonks, and I was right there, so a half flip on that one, but Market Man's not always right. Do take into your considerations and use your own big brain and not just rely on me whenever going in on cards in the market. Thanks for watching.